Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the REDX podcast. My name is Haley Johnson. I am so glad that you are here. We have a very exciting next 45 minutes planned for you today. We have Alicia from BombBomb with us today. Hi, Alicia.
Hello, Haley. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. We are so happy that you're here. Before we get started, I want to talk to our live audience that is watching. If you're watching this live, please feel free to tell us where you're at, where you're watching from. Feel free to ask questions in the comments, things like that. We'll try to get those answered. But for now, I think let's get started. Alicia, why don't you give us a little bit of a background, a little bit of a history on BombBomb. We want to talk about why BombBomb is such a great tool for agents, especially right now. Why don't you give us a little brief introduction to who you are and a little bit about BombBomb?
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Alicia. As you know, I'm the national speaker at BombBomb, which is really just a title that means I'm kind of an evangelist. It's like a split between evangelism and training. But I've actually been with them for 6 years. I started in customer support. And I was only in support for a couple months. And then very quickly, they realized that I could sell. I didn't even know I could sell at that point.
Love that.
And then I started in inside sales, and I did inside sales, and then I did enterprise sales. And now I've been national speaker for about 3 years.
Wow.
So the history of BombBomb is kind of fun because a lot of people look at us and associate us, especially in the real estate and mortgage industry, as a real estate or mortgage platform. But we're actually more of like a sales enablement tool. And our co-founders, Darren and Connor, they were actually selling billboard advertising. This was 16 years ago.
Wow.
The fun thing about BombBomb is that this idea of putting video into email, they started figuring out how to do this before the first iPhone even launched. So this was like very, very cutting edge at the time. So they're selling billboard advertising, and they kind of had this realization that as their territory grew, as they got better at their job, they were getting less face-to-face time with their clients, which was going to affect their renewals. I actually heard Darren, our president and co-founder, say on a podcast one time, like, as a sales professional, he knows if I'm sitting across the table from them, they're buying from me. So how do I replicate that? And that was where this idea came from of they were missing out on the face-to-face time with their clients, and they were trying to figure out how to still show up face-to-face to their clients, even though they weren't going to necessarily be in their office. And that's kind of where it all started. Connor's first video is hilarious. It's like cheesy green screen background, and he like walks in and he's like, hey, it's like very, very ridiculous. And even like the tech that they had to go through to even try and figure out how to do this at that point in time. But they figured it out. And, their first couple of years, they were mostly like a marketing platform. They were helping other companies figure out how to market. So the first couple of years, it was even less about the video and more just figuring out how to like get clients to accept them as a marketing platform, and then slip in the video piece in there. So that's our origin.
That's crazy, because we were talking a little bit pre-show about this product has blown up with real estate agents, and it's interesting that it wasn't intentionally intended for them, right? And so I think that's really interesting. Why did it blow up in the real estate industry, do you think?
So I'm trying to think of how many years ago we're talking now. If I've been with them for 6 years, maybe 9 years ago was their very first real estate show. And it was a Keller Williams show. They had no idea what they were doing. Someone else suggested, like, you really should go to this real estate trade show. And they went to a real estate trade show. And over those course of those couple days, they doubled their business. So
wow,
like the aha, we found something here.
Yeah.
And so we really, for the last several years, we really went hard into real estate and focused and built relationships and integrations. And really it was real estate that grew us to where we are now. And now, obviously we love real estate. I spend most of my time with real estate and mortgage clients, but we're expanding into any industry you could think of.
That's awesome. I think, and because it's like a sales sort of like trying to get the human interaction back into a product, which if we learned anything in the pandemic, it's that we need more human interaction in order to be successful, and to be happy and all those things. And especially for agents to get clients.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. So I, for those that like haven't seen BombBomb, what does it look like? What is it? Give me some of the, if you've never seen it before.
Yeah. So I love what you just said about, the humanity aspect, which is such a good lead into this question because, people hear video, especially in real estate, and they more gravitate towards that idea of video for marketing, right? Your video that's very public facing, your Facebook, your Instagram, the videos on your website, your YouTube videos, which is obviously a very important part of real estate. That's all about throwing things out there and trying to attract people to you. And I say that like the video for marketing side is more like you throw in spaghetti on the wall to see what noodles stick. Whereas what BombBomb does is we really focus on this idea of human-centered communication, putting your humanity back into your business communication, as well as recognizing the humanity of the recipient. If we talk specifically about real estate or even what's happening in the market right now, this is a really intense, stressful time for buyers. It might be for sellers too. Having your house on the market for 2 days and getting 10 offers in itself is stressful and overwhelming. And clients need to have the trusted advisor feeling when they speak to an agent. They need to have that sense that this agent is someone that actually cares about their concerns and their goals and is going to guide them through the process. And so when you get to communicate as a human being, you're also recognizing that they're a human being and they need to feel your empathy and your care and all of that. So that's kind of the why behind it, right? We know that people make decisions based on know, like, and trust. So how do you build know, like, and trust over a plain text email or a text message? It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So what we do is we make it really, really easy, either from your computer or your phone, to just press the record button, say what you were going to say, speak the way humans communicate most naturally, just speak with eye contact, body language, tonality, all those good things, and then just send it off just as easily as you would an email or a text message. It's not an attachment. There's nothing they have to download. It's not a link that you're sending them to YouTube where they're going to watch cat videos for an hour and forget that they were
that you even texted them or
not
anything.
Selling their house. But so it comes embedded right into the email or the text message as a video. And all they have to do is just press play, and then you're speaking to them directly. We also do tracking so that you know in real time when people are opening your emails and watching that video so that you can really engage with the people that are paying attention, engaging with you.
I love that. I want to speak to that a little bit because when we were setting up this for you to come onto the podcast, you sent me a video in an email, and I have never met you before this, right? And I just get a little email from Alicia, and she's like, "Hey Haley, I want to do this, blah blah. Let's coordinate." And I felt like, oh wow, we just like met, and so it was really nice to get that human connection.
Yes.
Everything else in my inbox is just plain text, right? No interaction, no anything. So even from personal experience, I can already tell that this would be beneficial for agents or anyone who's really just trying to reach out.
Well, if you think about that experience that you and I had, and if you think about that as an agent, let's say you get a lead for someone that is potentially thinking about listing their house. And you send that video introducing yourself. Hi, it's Alicia from XYZ Realty. I was just, got your information that you were, looking for a good estimate on what your house might go for. I just wanted to introduce myself to you so you know who I am. I'm really, passionate about whatever. Now, that experience that you had with me, when you go to their house, they already have that feeling with you, as opposed to if they're interviewing other agents, they don't have that experience. It's like,
Right.
so it gives you such a tremendous opportunity to start seeding that trust and knowing as early as possible.
So, and what's funny is my family actually makes fun of me because I never actually make phone calls. I FaceTime everybody because like it's just better to see somebody's face and see there's so much communication that happens that's nonverbal. And so that's something that I personally love. And so if you were to even just like calling up somebody and talking to them as their agent isn't as beneficial as them seeing your face, seeing who you are, looking at your facial expressions and all those things, I think is awesome. And so I have a question that I was thinking about. Why would you use BombBomb instead of just picking up your phone and using your phone to record a video? Like what are some of the benefits of using the product?
My favorite question, Haley. It really is.
I set you up. There you go.
No, I love it. So there's a few reasons. Okay. Number one, ease of use. Okay. So say, for example, if I want to record a video on my phone and try and send it to someone. Now, I'm an iPhone user. If they have an iPhone, I'm probably going to be able to send about a 30 to 40 second video, perhaps. It just depends, but videos are huge, right? Like if you've ever tried to send a video of your baby or the cat to grandma, whatever it is, and you've gotten that notification that it's too large, you have to trim it, right? Because video files are massive. So the ease of use is one of them, because if I, and that would just be for texting. Right? If I wanted to text a video to grandma. Now for email, if I tried to take a video from my phone or from my computer and send it over email, because that video is so large, it's going to have to go as an attachment. So now you have that little attachment at the very bottom of the email. You're also asking someone to download something onto their computer, which if you don't have a well-established relationship with them, there's no way they're downloading that. Right. So you also don't know if they ever do download it, right? Maybe they tried to download it to watch your video and their QuickTime was needed to be updated and they're like, forget this, I'm not doing it. So there's that side of it. All you have to do is just record it and then you send the exact same way as you would any other plain text message or email. But then the recipient's experience is such a huge part of it because it comes into their inbox just as any regular email. When they open that email, they're going to see a big thumbnail. They're going to see a human smiling face. We put a timestamp at the bottom so they know how long it is. First touch videos should always be like 45 seconds max because they see 45 seconds. Well, I'll play a 45-second video, right? I have 45 seconds. That might be all you get. So they have that. We take the first 3 seconds and we loop it into a GIF so that as soon as they open the email, they see motion. When we switched from a static thumbnail to the GIF, our customer video play rates increased by 48% immediately. Wow. So almost a 50% increase just from having a static thumbnail versus the animated GIF thumbnail. So you have those reasons, but then you also have the tracking, which this is huge. So I actually had an agent one time stop me in an airport because I was wearing my BombBomb shirt. And he was like, wait, do you work for BombBomb? Yeah, yes, I do. And he was like, can I tell you my story? And I was like, yeah, I love success stories. And he basically told me that he just recently had gotten a listing because he saw a tracking notification pop up for an email. He didn't recognize the email. He didn't recognize the person, but he clicked on the email to see what it was. And it was an open house follow-up email that he had sent like 6 months prior to everyone that had come through the open house. But he got that tracking notification that popped up on his phone and said someone was watching the video. So he looked at it, he emailed them a video and just sent like the, hey, just checking in sort of video. But he was able to win that listing. And he told me, he's like, I would pay for BombBomb just for the tracking information. And I've had other agents tell me that because that tracking information is giving you the insight to know when someone is ready to have the conversation, right? As agents, you send the information when you want them to list with you, or when you need more listings, or when you come across their information, right? But that doesn't mean that they're ready to talk to you. Tracking information tells you when they're ready to talk to you, because if they go back to that 2 days later, a week later, 6 months later, a year later, you're still being given that information that they're ready to have the conversation because they went back to it.
Wow, this is amazing because, like, I mean, you think about if you were to just send a video from your phone, like you said, you would have no idea if they ever opened it. You can look at open rates for emails, but that even for me, I just open an email and like get out of it 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
So it means nothing, right? And so if you know exactly when someone is looking at your face, that's the perfect time. And if you even wanted to send another one, like because this particular person saw it 6 months later, right?
Yeah.
Then be like, oh, hey, just want to check in. How are you doing? Whatever. Boom. Like I love that success story. And tracking is important because I'm in marketing. If we don't have tracking, we don't know anything.
Yep.
And we don't know if our emails are converting. We don't know if our blogs are converting, anything, right?
Yep, exactly.
So if you're an agent and you're a business person, because if you're an agent, you have a business, then you have to be tracking these sorts of things. And I love that BombBomb makes that really easy.
Yep.
Love that.
Well, and we do tracking, right? Like if you use our Gmail extension, you have a tracking feed on the right-hand side of your inbox so that you have this like real-time notifications when people open it up. And then I also get push notifications sent to my phone. So the nice thing about the push notification is that it doesn't clutter it up. I just see like, oh, Haley Johnson just watched my video. Cool. Right. But now if I was prospecting you, and I got that notification on my phone, Haley Johnson just watched my video, I would either call you right there or send you another video. But the notifications on the phone are awesome too, because it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to get that notification. So if you've been chasing someone and then you see that, they're watching your video.
That's amazing. Awesome. So, and I think this is a perfect segue to talk a little bit more strategy for agents. So, and I want to talk about like what are the best things agents can do with BombBomb? Just give me like a few things. I'd love to talk about a little bit more like that.
Yeah. So high level. I like to say that there's like 3 triggers that will always let you know when it's better to send a video, but I'll give you the 3 triggers and then give you some examples in there.
Yeah.
So the first trigger that will always let you know that sending a video is going to be better than plain text communication. If you are building a relationship with someone or building onto the relationship. So for example, a lead comes in, you need to build into that relationship. That video is going to be the perfect opportunity. Or maybe someone just sent you a referral, right? You're building that relationship right there. So lead response, 100%. You should be sending a video for lead response.
Right.
Follow-ups after listing appointments. You would not believe the amount of agents that have told me that the video they send after the listing appointment guarantees that they're winning these listings in competitive situations because, again, it separates them from the pack. Yeah. If I'm a consumer and I've interviewed 4 listing agents and only one of them sent me a video afterwards being like, oh, Alicia, thank you so much for inviting me into your home. I'm so excited about getting your property listed so that we can, get you in a house closer to your kid's school or whatever. Huge. So you're still building onto the relationship there. So that's your first trigger. Okay. Now there's lots of other instances in there, but the thing you need to think about high level is, am I building this relationship still? Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, any time you are explaining complex information. How much does that sound like a real estate transaction? So when someone watches a video or when we watch a video, we retain about 90% of that information the first time we watch it. As opposed to reading information in a plain text email, we only retain about 10% of it the first time.
Wow.
So going over expectations, what to expect, contracts, going over market analysis. These are all areas where video is going to be beneficial to you. We even have a screen recorder so that you can like pull up comps, pull up the MLS and have your video and just go through and show comps and send it off to someone without even being in their house. So anytime you're explaining complex information, it's going to benefit you. I've even seen agents, which I teach to, and I really would encourage agents to do this. Build a library of frequently asked questions. These don't have to be highly produced. In fact, I know an agent that anytime someone asks her a question, she just jots it down, or not write it. She does it in her phone. She writes the note in her phone. And then the next time she has a couple minutes when she's sitting in her car, she just pulls out her phone, records a quick video answering that question. But then she has it in her video library. So the next time someone asks that question, she can just send that video.
Oh, nice.
So explaining complex information, right? So you've got building a relationship, explaining complex information, or the third one, any time, tone, or emotion matters. If you've ever sent or received a text message that was misunderstood, or an email because
oh my
tone
gosh,
was lacking,
yeah,
right? We've all experienced this. You know why this matters. So for example, even something as simple as if you're an agent and you've sent a contract over to someone and it's been like 2 days and they haven't answered or they haven't replied. If you sent the text message that said, hey, I sent the contract 2 days ago, you haven't sent it back, any problems? If they're having a bad day, that text message could be read as aggressive, right? They're inferring your tonality.
Yep.
Like, why won't this agent leave me alone? Don't they realize that I am a single mom with 3 kids, right? Okay. So you send a video saying, hey, Haley, I know you're super busy, but I sent you that contract a couple days ago. I haven't heard anything back. I just want to know, were there any problems? Did you have questions, or you just haven't got to it yet? Tone and emotion matter there. Okay. Yep. So that kind of like questions or bad news, I wouldn't say deliver all of the bad news on the video, but you can seed it. For example, I know in this market, no one is having to lower prices. However, in a shifted market, being able to send a video and say, hey, Tom and Sarah, this isn't a fun conversation. I don't want to have it. You don't want to have it. But we're getting a lot of feedback that it's priced too high. So maybe the 3 of us need to sit down again and have a conversation. Well, you're giving them an opportunity to process that information, to discuss it among themselves, as opposed to if you call me while I'm in the middle of my workday and say, hey, I'm getting a lot of feedback. We got to lower the price. Right?
Yeah.
So it gives an opportunity to seed it. So bad news, complicated things, even good news, right? Congratulations. We're clear to close. You're under contract, whatever it is. You want them to feel your emotion because memories are stored by information and emotion. So you want them to have that emotional connection of you telling them all of the good news because it gets stored in the brain connected to you.
Right. I love that part, especially because I get, this is funny because I get feedback all the time that I'm an angry texter. And I don't know what that means. Basically just means that I like send periods and correct punctuation, and that makes me sound angry or something. And I've had friends tell me this all the time. So that's why I FaceTime. That's why I like, because I'm definitely not an angry person, but for all of these, especially in real estate, when it's stressful, you're trying to get into a house, like there's so many elements to trying to get into a house, that just having that human interaction that is lost in texting and emails, makes the process probably a lot more enjoyable, a lot better.
Yep.
And just makes communication a lot better. Right.
Yep. And I'm hearing from agents that it's really showing up on their reviews. Not just when you send a video for a lead response, but the agents that are actively really communicating at a high level, like the frequently asked questions or the what to expect or next steps in the process, these are showing up on reviews because consumers love it. They feel like they're getting such an incredible, like, cared experience as opposed to just hearing from their agent every once in a while. Right. They're getting these videos on a regular process, updating them, telling them what to expect. Hey, your home inspection is later this week. Here's a couple things that you really want to pay attention to beforehand. So it's showing up on the reviews because the consumer experience of it is really, really elevated.
Yeah, because humans like humans.
Yes, exactly. Haley, that's my whole job, really. My whole job is helping people understand how much humans want to deal with another human being.
Right. And I think this is perfect because a lot of our listeners are REDX customers. They're calling people all day, every day. And I think this is great because when you get on the phone and you're talking to a lead, if you're calling around circle prospecting or expired leads or whatever, it doesn't matter. And you have a conversation with somebody, especially because it's mostly over the phone with the leads and using a dialer and things like that. The most important thing you can do is follow up with that lead after you talk to them. And if and following up with a video, like you are agents are always talking about how they can beat out the competition, how they can, because so many agents are calling these leads and there's agents everywhere and all this stuff. But if you're calling them and then following up, being a human and with video and all this stuff, it seems like that is like, I would want that agent.
Yes.
If they did that for me, called me, followed up with me and all that stuff.
Yep. And voicemails, after you leave a voicemail, if you don't get to speak to that person and you leave a voicemail, always send the video. When I was doing sales, every single time I would leave a voicemail, the very next thing was the video. Hey, I just left you a voicemail, and then kind of recapping it, especially because any of us in the under 40 crowd don't listen to our voicemails.
Yep.
If you are an agent and you are watching this, please understand that generally people in the under 40 crowd do not listen to our voicemails, especially if it's from a number that isn't saved, right? Like I'll listen to a voicemail from my kids or my mom. That's about it.
Yeah. And on my phone, if somebody calls me and leaves me a voicemail, it transcribes the voicemail for me. So I can just look at it, see what the gist of the voicemail is and be like, oh, real estate agent, another real estate agent calling me. Okay, whatever. And then that goes right over my head. One, I'm just looking at the transcription. I'm not even hearing their voice. Like every human element is taken out of that scenario.
Bingo. Yep. Bingo.
Yeah. So I think that is, and we talk to agents all the time who, like, if you're calling leads and not following up the right way, then there's no point in you prospecting, because you can talk to people all day if you want, but if you're not consistently following up with them, then another agent will get the listing, right?
Well, and the second piece of that that's really important in your follow-up is not just that you're following up and saying, hey, you want to work with me yet? Hey, you ready to sell your house yet?
Right.
But providing value. This is the difference between the agents that are absolutely just killing it in lead conversion versus the ones that are like, there's too many agents, I don't know what to do. No one, is what kind of value are you providing? What kind of value are you providing for them personally? Because telling them about yourself and telling them how many houses you sold and sending the people on your prospecting list, like just listeds or just solds, it's not providing value for them. You want to make sure that you are actually giving them things that they're going to come back to. I say all the time, every single time you send someone an email, you are training them as to whether they are going to open your next email. So if what you've sent them 1, 2, 3 times is not valuable for them, if it doesn't like spark excitement or interest in them, then they're going to stop opening your emails.
Right.
Altogether.
And I'm thinking how easily it is to add video to everything that you do. So for example, when somebody, let's say they call around a neighborhood for just listed, just sold, and they call somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not looking to sell right now, maybe in the future. So then that person or the agent would put that person in their database to follow up with and things like that. And we always talk about doing client appreciation parties, past clients, or even just future clients, potential clients, things like that. Like agents will send newsletters, they'll send emails, they'll send things like that, just to stay top of mind, right? The most important thing is to stay top of mind. And the best way, I feel like, just to send a video instead of a whole long newsletter that they don't really care about anything that you're putting in the newsletter if they don't know who you are or where you're coming from. Or like if you talk to them like a year ago and you're sending them an email that maybe they haven't even seen in their inbox, or newsletters have gotten lost in the mail, whatever, and it's their first time opening it. Oh yeah, okay, who is this? I've never seen this person. I don't even remember them anymore, right? But if they have a face to see in their email or see whatever it is, then they're going to respond to that more. Open rates will get better, obviously. People will show up to your events, open houses, things like that, right?
Yep.
It just seems so easy to just put in video to make it more human, more connection, and that's the whole point of sales is getting that connection. So
there's a social psychology term called the familiarity effect. And basically what the familiarity effect states is that the more exposure that you have to a person or that specific stimuli, the easier it is to just trust. Now, it's not exposure to the signature line at the bottom of the email. It's exposure to the person. So the more they see your face, the more they get that sense of who you are, they are just going to naturally start to trust you more without you having to do anything. It's why influencer marketing works so well.
Right.
Because us consumers, we're on Instagram, we watch these influencers, right? We follow their stories because they're interesting. We like seeing what they're up to. And you're building trust, even though you don't realize it because of the familiarity. So then when that influencer is like, hey guys, you should buy this teeth whitener, people are like, oh, I trust them.
Oh my goodness.
It's the same thing. As often as this prospect that doesn't know you can see your face and get that sense of who you are, the trust is just naturally being built through the evolutionary process of them being, exposed to you, and they don't even realize it's happening.
And that's why social media is so successful right now for agents. They're trying to figure out social media strategy. What can I do to build my following because of that same thing, for influencer type feelings, right?
Yep.
And even a step further than just social media is having a one-on-one conversation with someone to make them feel even more special, or even more like you care about me.
Yeah.
And so social media, while it does give that like, oh, look at this person, I'm going to follow them, and all their posts and all that stuff, which does build trust, but even better, a personalized video
100%.
to you means the world.
So much more.
Right. Exactly. Yep. So, and I've seen a question around like Facebook groups and all this stuff. And people are always asking, where do I spend my lead gen budget, or where do I spend the money, right now to help my real estate business? And, we've answered that question a lot with just like, obviously you need leads. Obviously you need to be talking to people. But I want to ask you this question, because I know you believe agents should invest in BombBomb, but tell me why is that so important for an agent's business, to have these kind of tools?
At the end of the day, real estate is about relationships. It does not matter how much tech ever comes into this space. This industry is about building relationships, but also maintaining them. And so not only, as I've already said, video is your absolute best chance at differentiating yourself both from other agents and differentiating yourself from other emails in the inbox. But you're building the relationship early on. The other side of it, though, is like, even if you don't get leads, even if all of your business is by referral only, if this industry is about building relationships and maintaining relationships, again, one of the best ways that you can maintain a relationship with a past client is staying in front of them face to face. And how are you going to do that on a regular basis? Yes. Pop buys are great if the person is home, if they want to talk to you, which is also important. Client appreciation events are really, really important, but you may only do that once or twice a year. Video is giving you the opportunity to maintain that relationship. When, the pandemic hit and I was doing tons of trainings and agents weren't doing anything and they were like, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? Send a video, a one-to-one video. Do 10 a day or 5 a day or whatever you can to past clients, and just be a human being. You don't have to say, well, are you thinking about buying or selling? Like, just be a human being. Hi, Haley. I'm just thinking about you. How are you guys doing? It's been a crazy year. I just want you to know that I was thinking about you. Are the kids still playing soccer? How's that going?
Mm-hmm.
Send it off. So you're maintaining the relationship. And I'll tell you, as a consumer, I love my real estate agent. I would refer him to anyone over and over and over and over and over again. If he calls my phone, I'm not answering it. Now, I'm not saying don't call your past clients, okay? I would never tell you that. I do think it's important because you want to have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. If Jose calls me, I don't want to talk to him because I know that he's just doing his job and he's trying to maintain that relationship. But I don't have time to get on the phone with my real estate agent for 10 or 15 minutes to shoot the breeze. I'm not interested in shooting the breeze with him. Honestly, truthfully. I love him as a real estate agent. I don't want to have small talk about our lives. But the video, you're releasing them from that expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's not the, I have to have this awkward phone conversation with my agent and talk about my kids that I know he doesn't really, he's not invested in my kids' lives. Mm-hmm. But the video gives me an opportunity to respond how I want. I could call him back if I wanted to be on the phone conversation. I could send a quick email reply because it's just an email. Right. I could send a quick email reply and be like, oh, that was so sweet. Kids are doing great. Happy to hear from you. So again, this is about communicating with your humanity, but it's also about recognizing the humanity of your clients. And so I really, there is hands down, I believe this strongly because I believe that human connection is the most important thing in the world.
Amen.
There is no better way to elevate your communication than by using video, because this is how humans communicate most naturally. It's why we're recording this on video instead of us pasting a text conversation, right?
Or even just having microphones and not our faces at all. Yeah. So, and I want to talk about this as well, because we're talking about one-on-one human connection, things like that. And you get, let's say they get a list of email addresses from REDX and they just want to send massive email blasts to all of the leads that they can, right? Which we are not saying that is not the human connection. That isn't human connection. That is just checking a box and saying, okay, yeah, I sent a bunch of videos to whatever. Because when we're talking right now, Alicia, you're saying my name, you're bringing up specifics. I feel obviously you're talking to me, not like some video I put on YouTube that every single person can watch. And it's not specific to the person. Yeah. So let's talk a little about that, about how to properly use the video, even with leads or stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you're getting a list of leads, you are likely going to burn those relationships if the first thing you do is send mass anything. Now, unless it's really specific to that neighborhood and you can be really specific and provide value, high level of value.
Right.
The best chance you're going to have at converting leads is if you send personal videos with the person's name. You can use a whiteboard or an app. I use the app Big Text. I'm trying to pull it up here, or Make It Big. I use this app so that because those first 3 seconds of the thumbnail are animated, I like to use the app and put the person's name on there. So for example, a lead that I've never met before, putting, hi, Haley, and just building that up so that as soon as this lead who's never met you, doesn't know who you are, they open up their email and they see a thumbnail with a human being smiling and their name, right? So they're going to press play on that video. So your first video really, the framework of your first touch, someone you've never met, should be empathy, value, call to action. So really empathize as a human being. The very first step of that video. Your first touch with a lead is never, ever to talk about yourself. You're going to burn the relationship, because the way humans work is we think about ourselves first. So if you want to connect with a lead, you need to empathize with them and help and connect with them first. So, hi, it's Alicia from XYZ Realty. I know that thinking about even buying in this market can be really, really overwhelming. So I just want you to know that I understand and that I've been guiding buyers through this. And I am so, right? Like
Right.
you lead with empathy. Okay.
Mhm.
The second piece is, what value are they going to get by responding to your email or scheduling time with you? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why even bother? And the value is not that you're going to help them get their house. The value is, do you have a home buyer's guide? Do you want to, send them a white paper? Do you want to send them a free, market analysis or whatever it is? But what's the item of value that they will get
Mhm.
by continuing in the relationship with you? Okay. And then a simple call to action. So the very first touch, it really, if you want to convert leads, you've got to be willing to put in the work to be a human being and connect with these people personally. Because that's the differentiation, right?
Right.
Getting a video from an agent where they say your name and they act like a human being versus getting a video that's going to 300 people, it's miles apart in effectiveness. So yeah, I mean, there is a place for mass sending. We have a mass sending platform, but there's a place for it. Adding new leads to your mass sending right away is not going to be beneficial, especially because they're just going to unsubscribe.
Right.
They're going to mark you as an abuser. They're going to mark you as an abuser. They're going to unsubscribe. And the money that you spent to generate those leads is gone because you're not even allowed to email them anymore because they didn't want to get your just solds, just listeds every week in perpetuity.
Right. And I something that I'm thinking about as we're talking is that if you're in real estate, you're in the business of people, and whether you like it or not, you're in the business of people. And with marketing, with sales or anything, if you don't know who you're trying to give your services to and what they want, and then you're not going to convert. That's in any business that wants to sell their services, right? And I'm thinking like what you talked about earlier about how if you were the consumer, you don't want to just talk to your real estate agent all the time about things that don't, that aren't life-changing or anything or pertaining to you at the moment. Right. And that's because like, if that agent sends a video, then they actually know, okay, I know the consumer, I know what they need. I know what they want. Things like this, like empathy, things like that, like, that's marketing. That's knowing your client. That's knowing your preferred client, all that stuff. And so that's just getting to know the human experience, the human, what humans want. And I think that's why, I mean, we talk a lot about like at REDX, at least leads. Not everybody wants to pick up the phone and call leads as agents. And not every lead wants to pick up the phone and talk to the agent. And so we're just trying to get like conversations out there. But I love this BombBomb thing because it is what people want. They don't want you to interrupt their day. Yep. They want to know what you want, first of all, and then they want to know what you're going to bring to them.
Yep, exactly.
And then you deliver it in a 45-second video, push send, and then you can track if they're watching it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that first video may not convert. Do first videos convert? Yep, they sure do. But your first video may not convert, but it's for any number of reasons, like we already talked about. They may not actually be ready to talk to an agent. They may have just been curious. They may, so the more that you can get in front of them and be a human being, the more it's going to benefit you. And, video just does it. I like to start sessions all the time. I ask people, I'm like, how many of you believe that if you could get face-to-face with more people, like more buyers and more sellers on a regular basis, your business would explode? And the answer is always yes. Of course, if I could get face-to-face with more buyers and more sellers, of course my business would explode. Yes. Well, that's what we're doing. We're just getting you face-to-face with them.
I love that. And I love how perfectly it seems like REDX and BombBomb work together in we provide the leads so that you can have more conversations and then send the video, follow up, look like, and show them your face and then put them into your campaign or whatever you want, send them multiple videos, things like that. It's just like a beautiful strategy.
Well, no, it really is. It really is, because there's the lead gen side is really important. Being able to know, what people might be ready to have a conversation. That's a really important piece of your business. And then, we're the communication side of it, right? So they do work really well together. And our Chrome extension, before we started recording, you had mentioned the texting capabilities. Like our Chrome extension even would let you take the video link and pop it into the texting side of the platform to send a video text through the platform, right? So you have that ability as well. Obviously, you need to make sure you don't abuse it.
Yes.
I feel like I hope texting doesn't go the way of email. Right. Like I get like a small percentage of spam texts and unsolicited sales and stuff, but it's like this much in texting and this much in email.
Yeah.
And we really want to make sure that texting doesn't go that way, because once our text messages are like our inboxes, I think we're all going to throw our phones away.
Exactly. And that is just, I know I get some sort of like solicitor or whatever texting me, and I'm like, okay, just get it, just go. Like when they're everywhere, that's just so for agents who they use our texting service, make sure that you are sending quality videos or text message or anything that provide value, not just mass text that everybody's getting.
Yeah. I got a text message from a real estate agent recently that I don't know. Obviously, they bought the number from somewhere. But what struck me as funny about it, especially because I teach agents, right? Like it's especially entertaining for me when agents cold call me because I'm like, oh, let's do this.
Yes.
But I got a text from an agent, and it said, "Hi, Michael," which is my ex-husband's name. We've been divorced for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
My ex-husband still lives in the house that, we used to own together that he owns now. And it said, "Hi, Michael, I have big plans for," the address. I'm not going to give my ex-husband's address out on a podcast. But "I have big plans for blah, blah, blah," the property address. And then it said, "Call me." I was like, do you know what I responded? I said, "Michael is my ex-husband. I don't live at that house. How did you get this number?" And then I didn't hear anything.
Yep.
Which sucks because I'm a homeowner too. But that's not a helpful text.
No.
It's really not.
And the thing is if they had like called that number or anything, they would have found that out in 2 seconds, right? If you answered the phone or anything.
Or even done the minorest amount of research, because my name has not been on that deed for 9 years. Do your research, agents.
That is the quickest way to make sure that you never talk to that person.
Bingo.
Yeah, thanks for really wow, I feel really special. You calling me Michael and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Alicia, thank you so much. I think we're wrapping up here, but I wanted to give you the last word of anything else, final thoughts that you want to share with us. I think this has been awesome. Like I love talking about human connection. I love human connection. I'm a human, right?
Yep.
And I love this stuff. I love talking about this. But I just want to give you the final word. Why agents need BombBomb? Anything last thing you want to say?
Yeah. I really just want to leave you with the fact that your humanity matters, right? Mm-hmm. As an agent, your humanity matters, and your client's humanity matters. And it's really easy to get into this like streamlined, I need to automate everything and streamline and more business and all of this. And you lose sight of the humans on the other side. And the agents that are most successful, regardless of whether they're using BombBomb or not, are actually invested in the humanity of the people that they're working with. And so I would just encourage you, leverage your humanity, be a human being in all of the places that you can. Recognize the humanity of your clients and communicate in a way that is empathetic and cognizant of the fact that they are a human being as well as you are a human being. And that's going to save you from a lot of bad practices, right? Mass sending a text, to 400 people. If you're really focusing on the humanity of the people, right? If you don't just think like, oh, this is a lead. No, this is a human being. It's going to make all the difference. And that's what I would want to leave your audience with, right?
Love that.
Communicate as a human, but also recognize the humanity of the person on the other side of that message.
Yes, I love the leverage your humanity. I think that is a good way to wrap up all of this. Thank you so much for providing so much value to the people that are watching, our customers, people that aren't, everybody. Alicia, this has been an awesome 40 minutes. This has been so great. So
thank you. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, we just talked about being human for like 45 minutes and it was great. Yes, so thank you everybody for watching, tuning in. This has been a great podcast. I hope that you found some value. I know that I did. So thank you for tuning in. I want to say we are back here again next week on Thursday. Same time, same place, everything. And if you came in late to this podcast or anything and you want to watch the whole episode, make sure to go to our website, theredx.com/podcast. You can also sign up to get reminders of all of our podcasts there. But again, thanks for watching, and we will see everybody next week.